What is going on, friends? Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Abby, coached by Darnez Stokes, sending in a technical analysis for one of his own athletes. So that's pretty cool. If you're a coach out there, you watch these videos and you need some help with your own athletes, you can order on behalf of them. And if you want to keep it private, you want to keep it between us, keep it on the DL, let me know. We can do that, all right? To do that, just go over to www.gripandrip.co and sign up. All right, and for anybody else out there watching, if you're in need of any other online coaching needs for the hammer throw or even discus or shot put, if you're into that, I can help you out. Once again, gripandrip.co. All right, so let's get into this video. Like I said, Abby is her name. I don't know if she's going to be watching this. Maybe it's just going to be Darnez. But basically, based on both the videos you sent in, I think she just needs to slow down the winds a little bit. This video was better than the other one. Turns looked a little more connected, but overall, the winds just too fast, too tight, too much tension, pulling and fighting the hammer. Not very smooth, not very connected. But it's there's some good things in there. So basically, as I've said, slow down the winds. The thing you could get Abby to focus on is hands out away from the body. Think about big, wide circles, left and right, front and back, whatever you want to call it, all 360 degrees around you. And then also slow down this preliminary swing. As you can see, lets the hammer come up and she really pulls those hands forward. You pull the elbow across. Hands are high, up in front of the face. Ball's really steep here. Try to get this ball a little flatter, because once it's really high down here, it's going to drop really hard. As you can see, she looks shorter, so there's not really much room for a steep orbit. That's why she's got to really tense up those arms and shoulders. And then that's also just, it's all coming from the arms and the upper body. It needs to come more from the hips and the legs. So as you can see, the hands come forward again. Hips follow it, but the hips should be kind of leading it. And then you can see she's not quite grounded because she is so tight through the arms. You're going to see this left foot slide there, which is usually not the best thing, because now she's setting up her kind of left side axis even farther left than she already was. And you can see the orbit's a little bit flatter here, but still is really awkward position, kind of bent forward at the hips, chest forwards, elbows coming up high. And then she does catch the second wind a little bit higher and more back, but then you can see she just doesn't have the centripetal force on the ball to really run it far out to the right and out in front of her. She's got to lift her hands up as hard as she can. And like she's trying to prevent the ball from hitting the ground. I know she is, and that's why she's probably doing that. But it's just really tight up in the shoulders, and because of that, the hips aren't going to quite connect. You can see she's kind of shifting down here and like really trying to work that right hip into the ball, which is good, and it's close. It's just the connection isn't quite right with the winds and the hands and the shoulders and the hips and the body, and the whole system just isn't quite connected like it needs to be on entry. So she's really fighting across here. The turn itself is pretty decent. Like, this is decent direction. She's shifting back, setting that left side back. She rises up a little bit, left leg straightened out a little bit too much there. Orbit's flat now, which is a little bit ironic with the winds being so steep and then the first turn being so flat, just to try to match the orbit of the winds to the turns, at least to start, and then let orbit develop naturally on itself. But otherwise, outside of rising up a little bit there, she's a little bit high on this catch. So she's rising when the ball's rising and dropping when the ball is dropping. It kind of needs to be the opposite. As the ball rises around the left, she needs to kind of sit down and stay down, and then when the ball is pulling her down in double support, she needs to resist it. Not necessarily stand up, but just resist it. But good catch on the ball of the foot there. Looks like she's relatively centered with the hips underneath her. Left heel comes down, and you can just see head is down, chest is down a little bit, arms are tight, shoulders are tight, shoulders are kind of shrugged up. You can kind of think chest up, shoulders forward, head back, neck back, whatever you want to call it, chin back. And that'll help out her posture a little bit while still allowing her to stay down in the legs. This turn is better, I think. Good patience. Relatively stable left side, a little bit of shifting back, but not so bad. But you can just see the tension in the arms, in the shoulders, up towards the ears. And then it's like she's kind of forcing the low point a little bit, trying to keep the hammer flat. That's kind of what it looks like. I don't know if that's what she's trying, but tight arms is really limiting the orbit. Once again, it's very flat around. I guess she's short, so she can't really, let the hammer drop too much. But if you just see those hands up and out a little bit more on the left, shoulders forwards, down and forwards, protracted forwards. Hips are getting up into it well. She's got good power. I kind of like the single support, but you can see this left leg straightens out again. And then it's a very stiff left knee. She does drop a little bit towards the end, but needs to limit this left leg straightening. This ball goes around the left. Decent catch here. Hips a little bit back. At this point, especially in a turn 2 of a 3 turn, your hip should be underneath you. Chest needs to be up. Torso kind of needs to be stacked. As you can see, there's a slight forward pitch here. She grounds that left heel again, and this is actually a very good kind of compensation, I guess, for this catch position. Being a little bit forwards, she does settle back into it, get her hips underneath her well. This is, I think, a very nice double support movement, but you can still see shoulders are tight, eyes are down, shoulders are very shrugged up. With her being shorter, as I've said a few times now, instead of thinking the ball, needs to be farther away from her, I guess. She's trying to fight the ball being so low to the ground and probably hitting the ground by pulling the shoulders up. Rather think about having the hammer out away from you. Like I said, centripetal force will keep the hammer up and out if you let it. If you let the ball drop because you don't have enough centripetal force on it, then you're going to have to pull the shoulders up to prevent it from hitting the ground. And like I said, you got to set that up in the lines. But otherwise, decent double support. Just tighten the shoulders. Hips working up well again. Left leg straightening out a lot again. But then she does get a little bit of drop. But just a little bit too late. Left knee, instead of, like I said, straightening out so much, could spiral kind of downwards. Drop downwards towards 180. Spiral that left knee down towards the ground. And then she's not quite patient enough towards the end of double support. As you can see, she gets pulled around the left a little bit. You see where her hips are going. Hips are going boom around the left. Cutting the rotation off a little bit. She catches. Not much separation here. A little bit high in the legs. You can see she's barely on the ground. Settles down into it a little bit more. Left heel comes down. And then she tight arms, shoulders, fights out of it, hips up into it. So like she's got some power for sure. I think if you just cleaned up the winds and entry and she could feel the tension of the ball out away from her more rather than down, she wouldn't have to shrug up as much. She could be a little bit more patient. She'd rise up maybe a little bit less with it. So yeah, it's close. There's some things in there, there's some things in there to work with. It's just a matter of letting them happen. Yeah, so like I said, clean up the lines, flatter, hands out away, wait for it. Don't yank, don't jerk the hammer across. It should be smooth. If you look at professional hammer throwers, most of them at least, they're very smooth and very connected with their winds and entry and then all of their turns. And that comes from a sense of stability, and you only find that stability by throwing easier and slowing things down. So I know it's kind of late in competition season. Can't really take a bunch of time to slow things down, but maybe at the start of each practice, do some sets of winds. Focus on smoothing it out. Then once you get into full throws, take the first 3, 4, 5, 6 throws easy, and then get into more of the higher intensity stuff, competition practice, if you will. So, yeah. All right, Darnez, Abby, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm of course here to help. So shoot me an email. Alrighty. If anybody else out there would like a technical analysis, go to www.gripandrip.co, and I would love to help you guys out. So thank you for watching. Until next time, Sean Don, signing off.